women are very much respected as per the Baul theology. Now, step by step, we will proceed to find out the connection between women and the Baul theology. And what is the position? We will find that what is the position of the women in the Baul theology. How the Bauls give respect to women. They attach more power to women. And what is the real scenario? What is the scenario in the real world? That we also try to find out in our discussion. Now, let's start with a very simple question. Who are the Bauls? Step by step, we will proceed and we will then try to establish the connection between women and Baul in their theology and also in the real world. Now, let's start with the question I have already given. Who are the Bauls? The Bauls are the inseparable part of the Lokayata culture of Bengal. They form a very colorful community and wander from place to place, carrying with them their mystic philosophy hidden under the cover of mellifluous songs. These spiritual birds of rural Bengal, though lead a simple life of mendicant singers, always show respect to values like humanity and love for mankind, irrespective of caste, creed, and religion. The Baul as a community can be traced back in medieval Bengali society, but their theology, their ideology was not a new creation. It was rather a part of our greater metaphysical tradition starting from the Vedanta or Upanishad. A vast repertoire of Baul songs can be found containing the knowledge of worshipping humankind, love for mankind, and all the Baul ideologies. Now, let's explain the philosophy of the Bauls. What is the basic philosophy of this Lokayata cult? In a sentence, we can say that the Bauls are the worshippers of man. A Baul praises the individual soul and the infinite power inside him. This inherent infinite power is none but the supreme soul, whom the Baul call as the Paramatma or Moner Manush. The Moner Manush. He is the Baul's Moner Manush. The ultimate goal of a Baul worshipper in his spiritual journey is to find out and to unite with the Supreme Soul, whom I have already said that he describes as his Moner Manush. Some scholars like Kitimohon Sen believed that the Baul idea of the existence of a supreme soul inside every individual body, residing along with the individual soul inside a human body, is originally taken from the Rig Veda. The Rig Veda explains that within a jiva resides the individual soul as well as the supreme soul. These have been likened with two birds. While one bird, the individual soul, enjoys and experiences the mundane pleasures of the sensuous world, the other bird, the supreme soul, just keep an eye on the other bird. In Rig Veda, we find a hymn. It says, Dva Suparna Sajuja Sakhaya Samanang Vrikshang Parisasya Jayate Dayoranya Pippalang Swadatti Anashnannam Obhichakushiti. It means the one bird is enjoying the fruit, and the other bird is doing nothing but just keeping an eye on that bird. Here, these two birds are the symbols of individual soul and the supreme soul. The supreme soul is beyond all bondages of Maya. He not only observes the individual soul, but also reveals the true path to free him from the clutches of Maya, and also shows him the path to be united with the Supreme Soul, which is the ultimate spiritual goal of a Baul. I have already said that this idea is not new. It was not a new creation of the Bauls. It is a part of the ideology of our greater metaphysical tradition. And we also find the same idea in the religious philosophy of the Sahajiya sect. In the Doha Kosh found by Pandit Haro Prasad Shastri from Nepal, we find a Doha where the Doha says, Oshoriri koi shorirohi lukko. I'm repeating, Oshoriri koi shorirohi lukko. It means someone is there who is hiding inside me, but I cannot find him. I cannot go to him. This same idea is echoed in many Baul songs. Baul is an oral tradition, so they have kept their knowledge entirely in their vast repertoire of their songs. However, there are several such songs. One song, it says that the worshipper is, a Baul worshipper is saying that I can feel someone is there. I can sense that someone is here. But alas, he's lamenting, I cannot reach him. I cannot go to him. I cannot touch him. But I know he is there. And who is he? He is the Supreme Soul. He is Baul's Moner Manush, and Baul's aim in his life is to unite with that Moner Manush. That is the ultimate goal in the life of a Baul. Let's listen to a song which reflects this idea of someone is inside, residing inside me, but I cannot go to him. I can feel him, but I cannot go to him. Here it is. It is by Nirmalendu Choudhury. So, the Moner Manush or the Supreme Soul resides inside the human body. And that's why human body is a holy shrine to a Baul worshipper. Like the Sufis, the Bauls also use mystic songs as their medium of worship. These songs glorify human qualities and praise humankind. Therefore, people usually find these songs very appealing, but beneath their apparent meaning, these songs cautiously keep the devotional secrets of the Baul cult. I've already told you that this is an oral tradition. They always keep their the knowledge, secret, metaphysical pursuit, everything in their songs. A Baul believes that the human body itself symbolizes the universe. Why? Because this is the abode of the Supreme Soul who is the creator of this universe. The sun and the moon both reside in it. The great Baul thinker Hasun Raja once sang, Momo akhi hoite poida ashman jomin, ami hoite shob utpotti Hasun Raja koi. Again, another very common Baul idea is that jaha nei bhande, taha nai brahmande. That means whatever we find in this universe is surely be found in the human body, within the human body. Every element of this body is thus precious. Therefore, one must try to overcome all kinds of shame, apathy, and fear related to human body. For that, a Baul preceptor advises to practice Chari Chandra Sadhana, a typical Baul pursuit. Here we are coming to the mode of Baul pursuit. We have already discussed the philosophy of the Bauls and their ideology, and then now coming to the pursuit, the mode of worship. The mode of worship, in the mode of worship, we can find a typical way of worshipping. They believe that we have to avoid all kind of overcome all kinds of shame, apathy, and fear related to human body, since the human body is considered as a holy shrine to a Baul worshipper. And that's for that they advise, the Baul preceptors advise a pursuit by using seminal and menstrual fluid and human excreta, which are collectively known as Chari Chandra Sadhana or 4 moons. Chari Chandra or 4 moons. This pursuit culminates into more complicated Bindu Sadhana or Deho Sadhana, which is the sexoyogic path of the Sahajiya Tantric tradition, adapted by the Bauls for their mode of pursuit. Tantra is perhaps the oldest non-Aryan sexoyogic practice in the indigenous religious tradition. The whole of the Eastern Gangetic Plain has a rich inheritance of the Tantric Vamachara from time immemorial. Even the Atharva Veda has mentioned this yogic order earlier. In Bengal, the Sahajiya Buddhists practiced this particular mode of worship since the 8th century. Eventually, the Bauls have adopted this path. Several Baul songs symbolically reveal the secret autoyogic practice of the Bauls. Let's play one such song which gives us an idea about their secret mode of pursuit. In this song, the human body is compared with an unburned mud pitcher, and it also claims that uh, we are not fit and prepared for any metaphysical pursuit. For that, we have to prepare ourselves, we have to learn the process of Hatha Yoga from a guru. And the song is like that, like this. Here's the song. This is the raw sexoyogic practice of the bowels. And the song is obviously related to this practice. But the bowl thinkers had gone a step further to bring about a qualitative change in this raw sexoyogic practice by attaching the idea of love, toleration, and devotional mysticism with it. Thus, the cult transcended to a great spiritual dimension. The idea of Prem Sadhana has a close connection with women. Love is the essence of this pursuit of a bowl ascetic. The song I am now going to play indicates the ecstasy of an accomplished bowl worshipper. Modhu here symbolizes the female fluid, and the Padmo or the lotus is a symbol of the female reproductive organ, and the Bhromur or the honeybee is a bowl ascetic himself, who has successfully overcome all earthly passion. This song, let's listen to the song. It will give an idea of the bowl Prem Sadhana. Just a minute, please. This song is sung by Pawan Das Babu. মধু খাবি যদি পেট ভরা মন ওরে মন ভ্রমরা। creating a space for love and prem sadhana in Baul ideology was possible due to the adoption of Radha cult propagated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, the Bauls worship him as their preceptor. Now, here we have come to the point where women got their recognition in the Baul theology through Radha cult. Now, who is this Radha? Sri Chaitanya had given a spiritual flavor to the eternal love story of Radha and Krishna. Chaitanya's Radha was not a simple village wife involved in an extramarital affair with a young, handsome local hero. Chaitanya had portrayed his Radha as the source of eternal feminine power, which has originally been derived from the Creator himself. The Creator whom Sri Chaitanya had described as Krishna. Krishna, the Moner Manush of the Bauls, and the Supreme Soul, or the Paramatma described in Vedanta, all are same here. So, the Krishna, according to Chaitanya, Krishna is the source of, the Creator is the source of infinite power. And he's the ultimate source. And this infinite power has different varieties, such as the Swarup Shakti, Ladini Shakti, and Maya Shakti. Swarup Shakti means the soul power, the Creator himself. Ladini Shakti is the delighting power of the Creator, and Maya Shakti is the elusive power which creates illusion. Radha cult, which considers Krishna as the supreme soul, as it says that he is the only Purush, and the Purush himself has created the Prakriti, she, and conferred his Ladini Shakti, or the delighting power, to that Prakriti, so that Purush himself, or Krishna himself, can enjoy exclusively that delighting power. And Radha cult believes that Radha is the personification of that Prakriti. Hence, Krishna Das Kaviraj in his Chaitanya Charitamrita wrote, Tika hoyen Krishner pronoy bikar, Swarup Shakti Ladini Nam Jahar. The concept of Radha cult insists upon identifying the whole living world, irrespective of male and female, with the Prakriti. All are projections of Prakriti, or the projections of eternal femininity, and suggests that the Supreme Soul, or the Moner Manush of a Baul, is the only Purush. Krishna is the only Purush in this whole universe, and all other animate objects, living beings, are manifestation of Prakriti. Only through the path of love, a worshipper who is a Prakriti, who is a projection of Prakriti, and he may be a male or maybe a female, that doesn't matter. He can be united with his Moner Manush, or Krishna, or the Supreme Soul. Let's listen to another song that shows the desperate urge of a Baul worshipper searching for his beloved Krishna or Moner Manush or the Supreme Soul. This is a very favorite song of mine. It is written by Radha Raman Dotto. Therefore, the Baul gurus advise that if a Baul worshipper renouncing his male ego can follow the guidance of his female companion on the path of Prem Sadhana, he will soon be able to attain the complete stillness of mind or Shunno Chitta, and that is the way towards nirvana or salvation, and can be united with his Moner Manush. That's why Lalon said, Prokriti hoiya koro prokritir songo, dine dine baribe premero torongo. A Baul should adapt all feminine qualities and emotions before entering to the path of Prem Sadhana. The Baul theology considers woman as the manifestation of Prakriti and describes her as the spiritual guide of the worshipper. The idea is echoed in several songs of the Bauls. Now, this is the position the Baul theology has given to women. But let's enter in the real world of the Bauls. what is the scenario there? Though the Baul theology recognizes the superiority of women in the Baul pursuit, in reality, the Baul world is dominated by the male ascetics. All great scholars, from Khiti Mohan Sen, Shashi Bhushan Dasgupta, Akhay Kumar Datta, to Sudhir Chakraborty, Shaktinath Jha, Rina Chaki, all admitted this reality. The Baul preceptors in practice always make division between active and passive worshippers. In the rite of Deho Sadhana or Vamacharo, a female body is used passively like a vehicle, which they usually refer as a boat or tori, in the midst of the river of temptation. Many Baul songs containing dual meaning can be cited in this connection. I am playing one such song which identifies a woman's body with a juicy palm tree, and the juice has been identified with female fluid or Radha Bindu. The song says that it is impossible for a layman to extract the juice. Only a Baul ascetic who has freed himself from all shackles of Maya or sensuous pleasure, mundane pleasures, knows the skill, or that is the Baul mode of pursuit or Deho Sadhana. Let's listen to the song. I'm playing it. The male dominance in Deho Sadhana began with the gradual incorporation of the Tantric Buddhists into the Baul fold, and it flowered after the 16th century with the adoption of Baul cult as its Radha cult as its theological base. But in the midst of this male ascetics, some Baulanis, very few, handful of them can be found, have proved themselves exceptional. But they came into prominence not before the second half of the 20th century. One among them was Gaurima. I'll give examples of from 3 to 4 of them to show the empowerment of women Bauls or the Baulanis in the real world of the Bauls. They acquired their due respect from the Baul. One such Baulani is, she was Gaurima. One among them was Gaurima. She lived in a little thatched hut behind the crematorium at Ghoshpara, Kollani. Beautiful and brave Gaurima had voluntarily chosen the life of a solitary ascetic. Mimlushen, another legendary figure in a Baul sphere, has shared the thrilling experience of her first meeting with this powerful ascetic in her book Honey Gatherer. She narrated, I'm quoting from Mimlu's book. Gaurima is no more. I'm quoting, but Mimlu met her, and I'm quoting from her book. An ethereal beauty, she sat in the yard outside her ashram on a small, intricately embroidered mat, lost in contemplation. Her matted white locks were covered with an orange veil. She wore the flowing red tunic of a tantric sage. Necklaces of white kori shells and rudraksha seeds were coquettishly strung in pretty decorative loops around her throat. Red coral and white conch shell bangles adorned her hands from wrist to elbow, jiggling against each other. Gaurima practiced Vamacharo and believed that, though dominated by men, Tantra originally belonged to women, and only a woman could guide a man to his destination. The ascetic knew how to control people around her and deliberately kept herself aloof from the locality to carry on her spiritual quest without any hindrance. Though always surrounded by devotees, she never had any intention to initiate them, but she enjoyed absolute control over people who used to live around the burning heart. On the contrary, another Baulani, Meera Mohanty, decided to make direct disciples and to give them lessons on Baul pursuit. In fact, being a female ascetic, it was not an easy task to emerge as a Baul preceptor, even in the egalitarian society of the Bauls, because the male preceptors never consider a woman worthier than a vehicle, a tori, to their metaphysical pursuit. But Meera Ma challenged this notion of the Baul world. She was aware of the intrinsic connection of a woman with Baul pursuit and thus consciously made many disciples of her own by initiating them into the Baul fold. Huge and fair Meera Ma had a magnetic personality and penetrating eyes. The villagers living in and around her ashram at Matiari in Nodia district, also had blind faith on her supernatural power. Thus, they accepted her as their spiritual guru, guide. Her magnetic personality and attractive appearance had created such a magical spell on her followers that every day they used to assemble to ashram to fetch and to drink the water after washing her feet, that is Charnamito, considering it holy. Meera Ma was an exceptional to emerge as a successful spiritual guide in the Baul fold. She had a consort, Kappa, but he was inactive and non-interfering. Meera Ma used to enjoy absolute control over the ashram and her disciples. The trend once set by Gaurima and Meera Mohanty is followed by a few other Baulanis who have been able to secure unquestionable respect in the Baul world. Two exclusive and independent women in the Baul sphere of Bengal are Maki Kazumi and Mimlushen. They, coming out of their own cocoons, they entered in the world of the Bauls with an eternal spiritual quest, and soon with their devotion, dedication and leadership quality, they have exerted their control over the entire community and managed to secure their due respect from them. Maki Kazumi is one of them. And she is a simple Japanese girl. Maki was born in 1959 in an ordinary middle-class family at Osaka in Japan. Her father worked for the Japan Railway. Being a student of philosophy, she always felt an irresistible attraction towards the unsolved mystery of life. It was in the year 1991, just after finishing her study, when Maki was preparing herself to earn her living by opening a bio firm, she suddenly met Sadhon Das Boiraggo, a Baul sage from Bengal, in a concert organized in her city. The performance by Sadhon Das had a mesmerizing effect on Maki. Mystic Baul songs instantly created an arch for spirituality in her. In her own words, the songs created an electrifying effect on her body. Though she could not understand the meaning of those songs at that moment, the music caused her to shiver irresistibly, as if she had lost all her control over herself. This experience had changed the course of her life. Within 3 months, the magnetic attraction of Baul songs brought her to the remote village of Sham Sundar in Rayna to her guru Sadhon Das Boiraggo. Denouncing all comforts she was accustomed to in her early life, Maki voluntarily chose the life of poverty, suffering, and discomfort to fit herself within the Baul fold. She learned the lesson of love and worshipping of human from her guru, and eventually, with her gradual acquaintance with the Baul cult, she became aware of the immense potentiality hidden in a woman and started realizing the power within herself. Along with a spiritual guide and companion, Sadhon Das Boiraggo, she established her ashram at Har Govindpur in Burdwan and started preaching the Baul idea of love for mankind all over the world through music, devotion, and affection. And very soon, she acquired a position of Guru Ma or Ma Gosai in the Baul world. Being a woman from a completely different culture and society, it was not easy for Maki Kazumi to acquire the status of a spiritual guide amidst the all-male gurus. But by achieving this status in the Baul sphere, she has proved the immense potentiality hidden in a woman. And I'd like to mention another one to show the empowerment. Her name is Mimlu Sen. She deserves the credit of introducing the gifted musician Pawan Das Baul to the modern Western music world. In the Baul community, 2 types of Bauls are found, the Baul ascetics and the Baul singers. Pawan is not an ascetic. He is an exceptionally talented Baul singer. He first came to the notice of the music lovers of the world in 1979 when George Luno made a documentary on the wandering minstrels of the Bauls of Bengal. Pawan's journey through the path of modern Western music became possible only because of the support from an elite and educated lady, Urmimala Mimlu Sen. Mimlu, their first meeting is very interesting, narrated by Mimlu in her book. There she wrote, it was the mid of a concert in an auditorium. At that time, she was in Paris. Mimlu was in Paris. And she met Pawan in Paris. It was the mid of a concert in an auditorium in Paris. A group of Baul from Bengal were performing on the stage. One was singing and others were accompanying him with different instruments like tambourine, khomok, and one-string drone. All were sitting on the stage in a semicircle. Among them, there sat an innocent-looking young man wearing a saffron robe and colorful patchworked jacket. He had bushy and curly hair and shining white teeth. The man was engrossed in pricking his nose, completely unaware of the reaction of the audience sitting before him in the auditorium. This funny manner had made the audience to laugh at him. But when he came forward to perform, the stage was on fire, truly on fire. His charming, melodious voice and God-gifted musical talent instantly enthralled the audience present in the auditorium. The simple, rustic man from an unknown village of Bengal soon became the heartthrob of the music lovers. Pabun's song made Mimlu to feel that as if the cyclone spiraling inside her was about to carry her off away to a new life. She instantly knew her fate and decided to be with Pawan Das Baul for the rest of her life. I think the time is short. That's why I will make my lecture also short. Together,
No, ma'am, you can continue. Yeah,
Yes,
you can continue. Yes.
I'll take
Really
a
interesting.
maximum 10 minutes. Maximum. Together, Mimlu and Pabun explored the remotest parts of rural Bengal to collect rarest Baul songs from various oral sources. During her journey with Pabon to the deep into the Baul world, Mimlu gradually came out of the cocoon of her Victorian mannerism and changed many urban habits. Instead of that, she happily adapted the community life of the Bauls. At last, the great Baul preceptor Hori Gosai initiated Pabon and Mimlu at Nabasana Ashram in Bankura district. But Pabon and Mimlu are not Baul ascetics like Maki Kazumi and his consort, but they are the lovers of music. They do not run any commune, but like true wandering minstrels, they wander from place to place with a huge storage of Baul songs. Music is their passion as well as devotion. They are working relentlessly to make the Baul songs popular to the world of music. The couple has given Baul songs a new dimension. Pabun Das is carrying on continuous experiments on folk fusion with different musical maestros of the world like Sam Mills, John Vertil, Mark Gilmore, Jean-Philippe Riquel, Sushila Raman, and many others. He, in fact, has created a new genre of Bengali folk fusion. Some of his musical albums are Real Sugar, Inner Knowledge, Tana Tani, etc. Mimlu collaborates with Pabon always during his recording and performances. She is the person who helped Pabon and his Baul songs to reach to the worldwide music lovers. She also managed Pabon's concern and tours around the world. Mimlu herself has a splendid sense of music and she is an excellent composer too. The couple dedicated to Baul songs is experimenting fusion music with Western pop, jazz, blues for more than 30 years since 1980. But other than music, they also do something for the mankind, which is the real work of a Baul couple. They worship man, humankind. They collected a huge number of songs from unknown Baul sources from Baul sages and singers during their journey, and eventually they started shuttling frequently between Calcutta and Paris with the mission of bringing Baul songs to the Western audiences. They, with the true spirit of a Baul, what I was telling that time, that they have come forward to serve the destitutes. Serve the destitute. They consider humanity as the greatest quality of a Baul and have begun work for social and economic uplift of the poor people residing in and around their ashram at Lohagod in Birbhum district. Throughout their journey to the Baul path, more potential Mimlu always remains as a source of inspiration to Pobon. Mimlu is like a planet where Pobon lives on. Mimlu and Pobon, though came from two contradictory cultural paradigms, always reciprocated their ideas and emotions, their education and experiences, their sophistication and innocence to complement each other. They are a perfect example of an ideal Baul couple who has been keeping pace with modern global culture successfully, but never shifted from traditional Baul ethics. So these are the stories, a few stories of the empowerment of women, of the Baulanis, or the women in the real world of the Baul. So my discussion ends here, and now I will play another Baul song which is related to their philosophy for you. I'm playing the song. Listen to it. We will end our discussion, our session with this song. This is related to their Baul philosophy. Union with Supreme Soul or Moner Manush.
এমন শুভক্ষণে বিবাহ হইবে।
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
বিবাহের কারণ এমন শুভক্ষণে বিবাহ হইবে। বরযাত্রীরা সব নিবে জল খাবে। এমন শুভক্ষণে বিবাহ হইবে। বরযাত্রীরা সব নিবে জল খাবে।
It's very close to the concept of Sufi concept of fana. It's the union, the worshipper is urging for the union with the Supreme Soul. Last rites of a man and the marriage rituals are used. This is a remake of the original song. The remake is done by Dohar, Kalika Prasad. Dohar. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I guess it's okay, ma'am. Thank you so much once again. So, ma'am, the session was really very interesting and enriching. You have highlighted many aspects which was unknown to us. So far, we did not know. Thank you so much for that, ma'am. So now let's move to another segment of the schedule. That is the interactive session. So I would request the participants, if they have any queries, they are now free to type their questions in the chat box.
Just a minute, please.
Participants are now requested to type their queries if you have any query regarding what ma'am has talked about. So if you have any queries, if you have any questions, you can please, you are free to ask it. Ma'am, I have a query actually.
Yes.
Since no one is there so far, so ma'am, can I say that bowl is a combination of Sufism and Vaishnavism?
It's not a combination. It's a stage where all different folk religious cults assembled. It's a stage. It's like a stage. It's not a combination, but the philosophy, you can say that the philosophy, it's like a Baul is an umbrella concept. The philosophy adapted different elements from different folk cults. That's why it's so colorful. It adapted something from the Sufis, it adapted something from the Sahajiya Buddhists, it's adapted something from the Vedanta. We have already mentioned that the basic philosophy of the Baus is taken from the Vedanta. That concept of supreme soul and the love for humanity, worshipping mankind, everything comes from that. That supreme soul you cannot find anywhere in any temple or any mosque, in any church. He is just residing inside us. So human is precious, human is holy, love mankind and worship man. This is their concept.
Thank you so much.
A very liberal one. Yes, a Bhakti movement has influenced the Bauls very much.
Okay.
Anything?
I would request the participants once again, if you have any queries, any questions, you are free to write in the chat box so that I can
they didn't find it that much interesting, so they don't have any question.
Actually, ma'am, bowl, no, the concept of bowl is a little bit unknown to
Yes, this is
Bengal, this
completely
part of
an unknown
Bengal. Yeah, something which is unknown to this part of Bengal. To be
Yes,
honest,
Ma'am,
so now that's
ma'am,
why
I have a question.
okay, yes,
please.
sorry, ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, you have just said they have a very close relation with the Bhakti Sufi movement. Okay, ma'am. So
Yes,
the concept of Bhakti movement is like that universal love, brotherhood. But in case of baul, I mean, whenever I hear different kind of baul song, a feeling of romanticism. Okay, ma'am, a feeling of romanticism, or else they talk about moner manus. What you said, moner
yes,
manus,
yes.
yeah. Moner Manus is all about your romanticism, or sometimes they highlight, the love concept. Is
Yes.
there? We can say that they have a very close relation with the Bhakti Sufi movement.
Yes, very much. That's why they call Chaitanya Dev as their preceptor. They adapted the basis of their theology, Radha cult, from Chaitanya himself. The Raganuga Bhakti of Chaitanya Dev has been taken there as the basis of their theology. The concept of love and worship, the relation of a lover with the supreme soul. That is the main essence of their philosophy, their theology. It's very much related, very much connected. And also, they have taken the metaphysical pursuit of that sexo-yogic pursuit from Tantra and Sahajiya Buddhism. So, it's a blending of different ideas. That's why it is so rich.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, there is one question from Sir Asatosh Panda. He says, ma'am, what do you think about the comparison between Sri Ram and Sri Krishna? So many of us try to compare them, but they are the same. What is your opinion about the same? Do I need to repeat it? ma'am?
Krishna, as I have already mentioned, as per the Baul concept, is not the Krishna in our Puran and myth. As per Baul concept, Krishna is the creator of this universe. He is the supreme soul. He has created universe. He is the source of infinite power. And all varieties of powers derived from him only. He is the only he, according to Radha cult, propagated by Chaitanya Dev and also adapted by the Bauls. Krishna is the only male, only he, H-E, big H, in this universe. He is, other than him, all are projection of Prakriti. That is the female power, the power of the feminine power, the delighting power, whom we can also describe as the Ladini Shakti, which also derived from Krishna himself, the creator himself. So, Baul's Krishna can never be rather compared with Sri Ram and Sri Krishna as described in Puran. He is completely different. It's a different concept.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. It seems this was the last question. Manisha ma'am, do you have any queries?
Yes, I can't hear you. Please repeat the question.
No, I'm asking to Manisha ma'am whether she has a query or not. Okay, Manisha ma'am's question is, will the struggle of female Baul be compared to the prevailing society? She says, was the struggle of female bowl be compared to the prevailing society?
I cannot find that question in the chat box. Will you please write it down?
I repeat the question, ma'am. Was the struggle of female bowl
Yes.
be compared to the prevailing society?
The female,
Struggle of female bowl.
the word, your voice is breaking. The female bowl, the struggle of female bowl is?
Can be compared to the prevailing society, she wants to say. The struggle of female bowl. Can it be compared to the prevailing society?
Yes. They are struggling. The question is not clear to me. But exactly she wants to know.
Yeah, exactly.
They
I
has to because they have to struggle, because I have already mentioned that it's a male dominated world. In the reality, it's a male dominated world. The bowl ascetics always make a division between the though it's a pursuit of both male and female. Both male and female are equally important in the bowl mode of pursuit. But you know, the bowl worshippers, ascetics, they always create a division between the active worshipper and passive worshipper. They always describe female companion as passive worshipper. From there, it's not easy to establish one's own position, one's own it's not easy to secure one's own recognition in the bowl world. I'm talking about the Baulanis who have achieved this. They certainly have some exclusive qualities, exclusive potentialities, so that they can able to achieve this position, this recognition, this reputation. Otherwise, in the male-dominated bowl world, it's not so easy. It's very struggling for them. Yes.
Manisha, ma'am?
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Listen, no?
Actually, yeah, I was like, my query was like, already we have seen what was the status of the women in the 17th century after we come from the later Vedic period. So then again coming of this new ideology, especially in Bengal, because when we talk about Baul, it is only in Bengal, and Bengal also not every part of Bengal. So how in the struggle for the female Baul would have been more than because already they are in a society that is dominated. So when we come to this 21st century, so what is the situation is actually I wanted to know that is it the struggle is same or the struggle is more?
I see. Now I've got it.
No, my speaker was not working, so I had to.
Now, actually, the Baulanis I have mentioned, they all are of this time. All are, you can, you also know about Parvati Das Baul. Have you heard about Parvati Das Baul?
Yes, a bit, ma'am. Yes, bit. When I was in Santiniketan.
Yes, she is also one of them. Parvati Das, Maki Kajumi, Mimlu Sen, all are of recent times. And Meera Mohanty and Gaurima, I mentioned, they were there in the second half of the last century. But before that, we don't find anyone, any Baulani achieving a great recognition in the Baul world. We don't find any one of them. before that. So we can say that with the changing time, Baulanis are also, they also became conscious. Some of them, they having that potentiality, they emerged as Baul gurus, and they are able to secure their position and status in the Baul world. They have secured their respect in the Baul world. This is a very recent development.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
So much, ma'am. So I think we are entering into the last phase of this session. So may I now request Dr. Gauri Dey, one of the faculty members of our department, to say a few words of vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dipti ma'am. Good afternoon, one and all present here. First of all, I would like to thank our Father Principal, Dr. George Thadadil, for George Thadadil, Principal Salesian College, for supporting us for organizing this webinar. I'd also like to thank our Vice Principal, Father Dr. George Champakathinal. He's a Vice Principal of Salesian College. And I'll also like to thank our IQAC Secretary, Father Ajukuren. I would also like to thank Dr. Babu Joseph, Vice Principal, Morning Session, and he is the convener of the seminar. And above all, special thanks to our speaker, Dr. Sutapa Sengupta. She is the Associate Professor of Kalyani University, for such an informative speech. Ma'am, I am very, I humbly and thankful to you for such a presentation you have presented today. Actually, I'm also very much interested in this Baul song, and I used to, for this Baul song, I used to see the serial of Saudamini Sangsar, because in that serial there are so many Baul songs they used to play. Moner Manus, Tirer Manus. The concept of Moner Manus is so, means it's heart touching.
Yes, it's very heart touching.
Yeah.
Very true.
And thank you, madam, for such a informative, speech today. So we will, after this pandemic ends, we would like to hear you live.
Oh,
Then I'd
Very
thank
true,
you.
right?
so I'd also like to thank our tech team of Salesian College for lending their support in technical matter. I would a big thank to Miss Manisha Pradhan, HOD, Department of History, and also our my sister and my colleague, Mrs. Dipti Naidu, for organizing such a beautiful webinar. And above all, I'll also like to thank all the faculty members of Salesian College for helping us, for motivating us, for organizing this webinar. And to all the participants who patiently, actually, I think, okay, who patiently attended the seminar. They have so many queries to ask, and they ask so many questions to ma'am. And I think all of us, our concept is clear with your speech, ma'am. So a big thanks to all of you who are present here. Once again, thanks to ma'am for such an informative speech. Thank you.
I also enjoyed this
Thank you
session
so much,
very
ma'am.
much.
So
Thank you so much, ma'am.
we'd like to, ma'am, we'd like to listen you live.
Yes, I'll be very glad to go there. If at all possible, after the pandemic,
Yes.
I will certainly go there if you invite me.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Father
Thank you so
Principal
much,
is
ma'am.
also here. If Father want to say something.
Yes, I agree with both the invitation on the part of Dr. Gauri, and glad to know that Madam Sutapa has accepted the invitation. So we do look forward forward to having Madam on campus for a future event.
Thank
And
you, sir.
once again, thanks from my side. It was a beautiful session. Thank you.